Alright, good day everyone. Today we're going to be doing absolute values. Now an absolute value is represented as a vertical line and a number, right? Let's say x is a number. What you need to understand, the answer will always be a positive number, okay? For example, the absolute value of 2, okay, will be 2. It won't be negative 2, okay? So whatever the answer is, it'll always be positive. Now what is an absolute value, right? Now to understand absolute values, I need to draw a number line, okay? So if we draw a number line, and we put over here 0, 1, 2, and then here we'll put -1, then here -2. Alright, so if I ask you what's the absolute value of 2, positive 2, it'll be 2, because absolute value is the distance from 2, 0, right? So the distance over here is 2. If I ask you what's the absolute value of -2, the distance from -2 to 0 will be 2. That is why absolute values will always be positive, because it's a distance from a number to 0. So if I ask you what's the absolute value of 1, the absolute value of 1 will be 1, but it will also be -1, because if you think about it, over here the absolute value is 1, and over here the absolute value is 1, so it's 1 and -1. Now in absolute values, there are 3 things which you need to know: graphs, solve for x, and inequalities, right? Now absolute values is probably one of the most easy subjects, easy components of maths. It's actually very easy, right? So let's say we have 2x plus 1, and then obviously absolute values have to have this. If it's not that, then it's not an absolute value. It's equals to let's say 6 or 5. Yeah, let's say 5, right? Now find out the absolute values. So the first step is to make 2 equations. Number 1 must be a positive answer, and the other one must be a negative, okay? Because it can be plus and can be minus in here, okay? It can. Now there's 2. Now first of all, you do the one where it's positive, so it's 2x plus 1 is equals to 5. So it's normal equation, 2x plus 1 is equals to 5, okay? 2x is equals to 5 minus 1, that's 4, so x equals to 2. So one of the absolute values is x equals to 2. And it makes sense, right? 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5, so 5 is equals to 5. Now basically you want to say -5 is equals to 5 also. So now to do that, there's 2 ways, but I'll show you the easy way. Put minus 2x plus 1. Okay, close brackets, is equals to 5. Okay? Now if we solve this out, minus 2x minus 1, is 5, that's 6. 6 is -3, okay? So x is equals to -3. Now if you test it out, 2 times -3 minus 6 plus 1 is -5. So -5 is one of the absolute values in here, and also 5, and it makes sense, okay? The absolute value of -5 is 5, and the absolute value of 5 is 5, okay? So that's what's it called, your solve for x. Alright, so the absolute value of 2x plus 1 is greater than 5. First thing I told you, make 2 equations, right? Now the first one is normal, so 2x plus 1 is greater than 5. And obviously now you solve, we'll get 2x is greater than 5 minus 1, that's 4, so x is greater than 2. Okay, so that's one value, x is greater than 2. And then the other one, now you can put a negative, 2x plus 1 is greater than 5, or you can just make 5 negative, because minus into 2x plus 1 greater than 5 is the same as 2x plus 1 is greater than -5. You just put the minus over there. But for argument's sake, okay, I will do the one people are most comfortable with. I think it's minus 2x plus 1 is greater than 2x plus 1, don't forget the brackets, greater than 5. Now that's how I was saying you could have put the minus over here initially, because now minus into 2x plus 1, you get rid of the minus over here. Because one absolute value bracket on its own, you times it by -1, that's so that comes positive, this by -1. So basically my suggestion is, okay, ignore this. As soon as you put this equation and then put a negative in the answer, right? Now solve it. Now as soon as you put a negative, what's going to happen is the sign changes, right? So 2x plus 1 must be less than -5, right? Change. And 2x is less than -5, that's -6, -3. So x must be less than -3, okay? So remember, as soon as in the second equation you put a negative over there, the answer sign changes. Now you have to draw this in the interval notation. So x is greater than 2, but it's not equal to 2. So it'll just be like an empty space here, and okay, and then x is less than -3, so -3 is somewhere over there, okay, empty dots, and alright, so the answer will be, so x is an element of the interval. Now when you put in don't include infinity, so negative, so all this here is negative, so you're going there, all negative infinity, negative infinity to -3, okay, and then now to say or, you say union, and the other one is 2 then it's 2 to infinity, okay, to infinity, okay. So that's your answer for inequalities. Okay, so now let's do absolute value graph. So let's say we have y is equal to the absolute value of x, the graph, right? Now this graph will look something like this, right? It's 0 and go like that. It's like a V shape. So this is absolute value. If let's say you add 1, so it'll be x plus 1, okay? The absolute value of x plus 1. The plus 1 means it's shifted to the left. So now the graph looks like this, okay? If it was, let's say, plus 1, so let's say if it was y is equal to absolute value of x plus 1 at the outside of the brackets, then it'll shift up, right? So you're gonna look something like this, okay? So yeah, that's how it goes. Same domain range. I mean, like this graph example is x elements are all real numbers and y is greater than or equal to 0. Simple. I'm just thinking, oh yeah, if it was, let's say, a negative x, negative in here, right? So y is equal to the absolute value of negative x, right? Negative x means the x changes, right? So just thinking, so like if this graph becomes negative x plus 1, where negative inside, it'll just be, or like it'll be reflected on the y-axis. But if it's, let's say, y is equals to negative outside the absolute value sign, now that means it reflected on the x-axis. But remember, it cannot be like this. Why? Because no answer for absolute value is negative, okay? So this cannot be it. It can't. There's no solution over here, right? So always remember that. So even if you get a y is equal to minus the absolute value of x, it will always be positive, right? But if it's in the bracket, the y and minus is in here, then it can't work, okay? So yeah, this is graphs, inequality, and solve for x. Very easy section to do. Okay, so that's it for today.